Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to take a look at the Taurus Judge, originally brought about in 2006, so we're in the tail end of 2016, which means the old Judge turned 10 years old this year, so we've got a decade of the Judge. And in that whole decade, this is the first time I've ever had a Judge. I always thought they were a little bit of a niche type of deal. They weren't very specific for any of my needs. But I did get one. I always thought that they might be fun, and I gotta tell you, they were. So here's my Judge. 3-inch chamber, 3-inch barrel. I prefer 3-inch barrels in revolvers. Excuse me. But of course, the Judge does come in other barrel lengths and chambering lengths. Obviously, you have the 2.5-inch barrel as well, or excuse me, 2.5-inch cylinder. I think you get like 3, 5, 7. I think that there are longer ones as well. I not right off the top of my head. I don't know Taurus's entire catalog. Excuse me. 5-shot of either 45 Colt or 410 shotgun shell. And for those of you who've never seen a 45 Colt, there's that bad boy. These are some 250 grain, just lead deals. I love the 45 Colt. It's one of my favorite rounds. And 410 shotgun shell. These are some federal, excuse me, well, they say personal defense. But these are basically 4-shot, so they have 4-shot in there. Yeah, these are 2.5-inch deals. Kind of fun to play around with. And then I actually had one of the shells that came out that was really designed for this particular pistol. One of these, the old Winchester PDX-1 Defender. These are interesting. These have the 4 copper-plated discs. Was it 4? Excuse me, 3. 3 copper-plated discs, and then 12 BBs. Man, that cold. 12 BBs behind it. Actually, I think the 3-inch ones might have 4 discs. Well, these are the 2.5s as well. But anyway, these have 3. And, might have lost it. Nope, I didn't. It's right here. I dug this out of the tree that I was shooting at. So you have these little discs here that are in it, and a lot of people's concerns with the Judge has largely been accuracy and effectiveness. With the 45 Colt, this thing shoots like a dream. It is absolutely great to shoot 45 Colt through. It was a bit high. This would be more of like a 6 o'clock hold as opposed to, right on. But they all were in a very nice, almost 2-inch grouping at 10, 12 yards, give or take. So they're pretty much right on. And I was pretty happy with that. When I got to the shotgun shells, I shot the PDX, the Winchesters, and I was actually kind of surprised at that. The placement of the discs, so those encompass anywhere from about a 3 to 4-inch grouping. And what I found is that generally the first 2 discs hit pretty much within an inch of each other, very close. And then the third one was usually, kind of off by 2, 3, sometimes 4 inches. But their grouping altogether was about 4 inches. That's better than what I thought. I don't know. I figured they'd spread more. Now, what spread more were the BBs. They were pretty much non-existent. And I had a paper target of, I guess it was about maybe 2 foot by a foot. Well, maybe about 2 foot by a foot or a foot and a half. Foot and a quarter, something like that. And you only saw a few of them on the page. When you're talking about 12 BBs and I shot 5, I found all my actual rounds, the round pellets, but all the BBs, they were in the ether. So that is not very effective. I guess you'd get, if you're hit center mass, you'd have the discs right here, and then the BBs would be in your face and on your knees and all over. So that didn't impress me all that much, but the discs were pretty nice. The buckshot, or the actual 4-shot and stuff, that was, its spread was 6 inches potentially. It was kind of all over the place, not consistent. So, but I guess if I had to carry this, and I wanted to carry the 410, I'd probably go with those Winchester. I think that would be a reasonable defensive round. Although, I worry about the collateral, and those BBs really didn't have a lot of punch. And as far as the discs, they might have made it a quarter to a half inch into the tree. I mean, we're talking about a hardwood tree. So, that's not bad, I guess. I think that would penetrate pretty well on a human, or if you're doing ballistics gel. But yeah, not something that I would typically say, hey, I'm going to carry that at all times. Make your own determinations. I'm not trying to detract from the gun. I'm just trying to say that it probably is not the best self-defense round. Just saying. But again, it does have the added advantage of that 45 Colt round, which is pretty cool. And if you get a Raging Judge, that'll also give you the addition of the 454 Casole on top of that. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, that was a little bit about the rounds that I used to test it. The trigger is actually pretty nice. The double action pull is consistent. It's not super weighty. Doesn't stack. It's a fairly consistent draw. It's a bit of a long draw, but that's okay. That's a double action revolver trigger right there. It's not bad. The single action is very nice. It's right there. It's a good trigger. I really like the trigger. I'll tell you one thing that maybe I think Taurus does a little bit better than Smith & Wesson is where they put the stupid frame lock. I know all of us love the locks that they put on these, but they put it on the hammer as opposed to where Smith will put it above the cylinder release. It's an aesthetic thing. I think it looks better there. Either way, I'd prefer not to have it, but if you're going to have it, I think that'd be a good place to put it. So yeah, what else? As far as it goes, I like it. Oh, grips. This is something that was talked a lot about back in the day when these were coming out, these rubber grips. I gotta say, they're really nice. They mold really well to your fingers. There's enough give there to get a good grip on them. I have smaller hands, and I'm pretty much right on the grip here, and it feels very nice. It's a good grip. I really like the grip. So that's not something I would change. And if you're a guy or gal who really likes to have the full hand on the grip, standard grip for this is pretty nice. Now obviously if you're going into the Public Defender, which is a little bit smaller, I believe their grips are a little smaller. Overall, the revolver is a bit smaller. But getting the standard Judge, that's a full hand grip right there. It's very nice. As far as weight, it is a bit weighty. I think these come in at around it's either 29 or 39 ounces, somewhere in that. See how prepared I am. But they do have weight to them, but it's well distributed. It's not something that after shooting it a few times you're gonna get tired. You aren't. Oh my gosh. Oh, so heavy. No, nothing like that. It's actually distributed really well. And, I could shoot this thing all day long. It really is that nice to shoot. I will say it's a bit of a dirty bird. When you're shooting those shotgun shells through it, it does get dirty. That's pretty self-evident, right, for anybody who's shot shotguns. So cleaning this thing, I think, would be a necessity, something that you definitely want to do after every shooting. I know that when I got it, the fellow that I got it off of did not clean it very well, and the cylinder didn't have a lot of, it didn't spin as free. It was a little gummy. So I think they had shot it a couple times, left it in the safe for a year or whatever, just never cleaned it. So keeping a revolver lubed is pretty important no matter what the revolver is. Keeping it clean is pretty much paramount. Also, because your 45 Colt shell is a lot smaller than a 410, you know, you effectively do not have much room for error there. You know, when you're cleaning, that chamber is exactly where it goes off. So about midway through that chamber with 45 Colt, you're going to have your scorch marks and your powder burns, or whatever you want to call them. So it's important to, you know, clean those out. Whereas, you know, if this were specifically and solely chambered for this round, you know, you wouldn't get, you know, that down in the middle of your cylinder. So, you know, just a thought, an observation. Just make sure you clean it, and it'll treat you really well. But anyway, guys, that's the Taurus Judge. I really enjoy it. I don't know if it's something I'm going to keep for a long time, but it's a fun gun. Self-defense wouldn't be my first choice, but for fun, out on the range, it's great. Recoil is pretty minimal. I mean, the 45 Colt is a joy to shoot. The 410 is a bit more snappy, but, you know, I guess it would be the equivalent maybe of a hot 357 out of a K-frame revolver. I don't think it's any worse than that. It doesn't hurt your hand. It doesn't kick real hard. It's a very nice, pleasant shooter, and I like it. I like it a lot. The Judge from Taurus. You know, I'm not a big Taurus guy. I know a lot of you aren't, but this is one that has been one of their best sellers. Obviously, it got called the Judge a little bit later because one of the bigwigs in Taurus figured out that some of the judges in I believe it was Miami were packing this as a form of self-defense, and I think that's cool. That's a cool story. It's a cool little revolver, 10 years old. Not this one, but you know, the actual revolver in and of itself, 10 years old this year. I got a lot of respect for this, and I think if you get your hands on one, you might just as well. It's a cool little revolver. It's definitely well worth a shot. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you stopping by. Take a look at another video here. I'd like to thank you all for all your subscriptions, for those of you who have subscribed. So I continue to tell you, go ahead and keep subscribing. Keep liking the videos if you enjoyed the content. Leave your questions, comments, concerns, stories, all that good stuff in the comments section, and I'll continue to reply to those as I can. But anyway, y'all have a great rest of your day, and thanks for stopping by. See you later.